A few years ago I made this thing, which I use for table saw fence micro adjusting. So from time to time people ask me how I made this thing, but it's really simple. It's just a regular dial indicator that's clamped in this block of wood using the loop that goes on the back here. And in here is a on-off type magnet. I bought this from Lee Valley Tools, and by rotating this 90 degrees it turns the magnet here on and off. The magnet is not terribly strong, so I actually added these two screws here to make sure it's level so that it's flat on here. The types of magnets for jigs are much stronger, but at the same time they're kind of harder to get on and off. What's always been inconvenient about this thing is that it's in inches, but just recently I found a source for metric dial indicators, which is really nice, and I thought I'd make one of these with the metric dial indicator, except this one is flat on the back, so I couldn't just mount it on here, but that gave me a much simpler idea. So I ended up using a fridge magnet, and I cut that out round and glued that on the back here, and that makes it stick to the steel table. It doesn't stick very hard, just barely enough to hold it up against gravity, but I just need enough friction on here for it not to move when I push against here. I'll demonstrate by cutting this piece of wood to exactly 20 by 20 millimeters. So I'll start by setting the fence to 21 millimeters for my initial cut. So let's see, my piece of wood measures 21.24 by 21.13 millimeters. Now it's not a good idea to bring it down to the final size in one cut, so I'm going to take about 0.6 millimeters off of each side. It's best to take the measurements near the blade so that any fence angle problems aren't going to show up as much. And now let's move that by 0.6 millimeters. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and there we go. And so I got 20.75 millimeters and 20.84. Let's take off 0.6 millimeters again, and that'll get us really close. And let's see, we have 20.2 and 20.26. I'm going to take 0.2 millimeters off of this. .01 and 20.00, or maybe a bit less than that. So we're within about 0.02 millimeters, and 0.025 millimeters would be 1/1000. So we're within 1/1000. So that's much more accurate than you really need for wood. So this one's much easier to make than this one, and it works just as well. All you need is a dial indicator with a flat back and a fridge magnet to glue on there. And if you need one of these to work on a saw that doesn't have an iron top, you could always glue a slab of metal on here with rubber feet, and that will be enough to keep it from sliding while you adjust the fence.